This is everything you're looking for indeed, and I'm not just talking about the 2019 Auto Chess Invitational and the $1 million prize pool. I'm also talking about the handsome gentleman next to me by the names of Yoel Larson and Claytano.
Hi.
Guys, it has been a wonderful day so far, and we're nearing the end of our day. We have covered 3 quarterfinal groups, groups A, B, and C. We've seen 4 players advance from each, and now we're 1 game down out of 3 here in our final group. So based on what we've seen today and based on what the first game that we've seen in the group, what are you guys expecting going into this next game for these guys?
Honestly, this one's a little bit interesting for me to call. I feel like there's been a lot of weird plays, but then also at the same
varied,
time,
right?
Yeah, it's a lot of different strategies going on from game 1. But I do want to see Nuge kind of have a higher finish as well to give him kind of that relaxed feel going into game 3, because right now he is a little bit on the cusp as well. So he was the top EU qualifier, and we haven't really seen too many of the EU players performing that great up until this point. We did have Seiko moving on to tomorrow's rounds, but Nudge was actually the top qualifier for EU. So looking for a little bit more out of him for sure.
Yeah, it's been interesting to see this group. There's been a lot of variance, and not variance, but there's been a lot of different comps being played. I loved one of the players did one of my favorite starts where you go with assassin, mage, dragons. I think that's very potent. So glad to see that also coming here.
Of course, we're seeing the points breakdown from match number 1 from all of our players here, and it seems that the next game is set to begin as well. We're moments away. I'm also interested to see, what are we going to see from Land here? Obviously, he had a very nice game 1. I wonder how much he changes things up. I don't expect him to change too much up because of how well things went for him in the first game.
Yeah, right. If he does have a good start, instead of going in a lose streak like he did in the previous game, he could definitely go into a big win streak. I guess we'll have to see what his stars looks like. If he gets those 2 stars, if he gets those early game synergies rolling, then of course you can go for that major win streak instead.
All right, guys, I'm going to let you take it away, but before you do, we're going to hear from Sizzle.
Okay, so for the first few rounds, I will definitely pick the 1-drop with great potential, like the Aggresses, Rancher, or Archer. And I will choose something strong like the, I don't remember the name in English, but it's a 1-drop, 1-cost feather that can, take mana from the enemy, because that one is pretty strong in the early game. And if I'm losing, I will definitely pick feather or knights as my, turn back weapon.
So very interesting to see Sizzle actually responding quite differently from most of the other players about what his early game would look like, looking for Aggressive Ranger or that Taboo Witcher, the English name he was looking for. 2 units we haven't heard anyone else talk about. I do like the idea of the Aggressive Ranger because we've seen how powerful that early 3 hunters are, and the Aggressive Ranger is just a way to go into that early. So we'll see if he does do that in the coming game.
Speaking of 2-star Aggressive Ranger, we do have Miss Peace with the 2-star Aggressive Ranger already. Now, for me, 2-star Aggressive Ranger is, it's great, right? It's good to have, it's good to add in for the Aggressive bonus and everything, but in order to really want me to commit to hunters, I have to see a couple Dwarf Snipers early on. That's the carry.
However, one thing that Aggressive Ranger also does well is actually transition well into Glacier Knight. If you get an early Evil Knight, just like Miss Peace right here, it's actually really nice to have until you get that bigger, like 4 Glacier and 4 Knights transition. We saw that a lot in the qualifiers, especially when people were loose streaking with Aggressive Ranger.
Possibly, but I feel like the way the meta is shifting, Knights Glaciers are played on a loose streak anyway, so because of that, you're not even really trying to win, so a 2-star Aggressive Ranger isn't really going to do much for you other than kind of tie up 3 gold where you could be getting.
But I still feel like in that
points.
Transition where you need to put units on the board, picking up a few Aggressive Rangers is nice. Either way, we'll see what Miss Peace does with this. Let's have a look at Sizzle. see what he's working with. He's actually picked up an early priest, also one of his fairly early game units in that type of Witcher. We heard him say that if he gets a lose streak, he prefers to go into feathered or knights, and we see him having one of both here on his bench. So, and buying an additional feathered and knight, I guess, and then an additional feathered unit. So definitely trying to go one of these synergies. I hope he does go for Night Glaciers instead of Feathered. I don't think Feathered's been performing that well so far. Actually, we see Yang having two-star Tabo Wishers this early. That is quite a high roll if you want to go into Feathered, and actually does have 3 Feathered synergy already. I think this start is really strong. I mean, Tabo Witcher is one of the strongest units in the early game. And if you give them a bit of evasion, especially 2 of them, they can actually wreak havoc on your opponent.
Yeah, plus he has 2 Hell Knights on the bench as well, so that's very close. I mean, round 6 to have all of this, I would say that's a high roll if I've ever seen one.
Yep, not bad. So, I mean, this is a good way to go into Feathered, but all of his Feathered units are all... You can sell all of them for full retail value still, so you can definitely transition into Knights if he does want to. He could also potentially go into Fallen Witcher if he does find one. He does have tons of type of Witchers already. You can play Hell Knight with that also. Could be interesting. Probably not going to see that, but just a throw out to Fallen Witcher.
Half the lobby actually going up to level 5 here, including Zoinhu, so there's one player that I did want to take a look at to make sure that he's kind of keeping up on
with the pace,
leveling, and if it was just because he was going Knight's Glacier last game that was the cause of him being behind levels the entire game. So good to see him leveling up round 5 there, and I want to go and see what he's actually trying to build this round here, and it looks like he's going...
This is something to notice also, that you want to follow the tempo of your lobby. If a lot of people start to level up early, you don't want to be the one that's left behind in the dirt. So you kind of want to spend money when other people are spending money, unless you're lose streaking, of course, and then maybe save money when other people are saving money. You don't want to fall behind in either economy nor life.
Yeah, so he goes ahead and sells up to 10 gold there, and it looks to me like he's also semi-thinking about going Feathered.
Or Glacier.
Yeah, or Glacier, instead of maybe just committing to Beast Warrior, which we've seen many times be a very, very strong option in this tournament so far. So maybe not counting that out just yet, but he does have, you know, Warpwood Sage on the bench as well, which honestly, I would only keep it for that unicorn so that way you can kind of farm gold off of it. But aside from that, I feel like staying as far away from Feathered as you can right now would be your best bet. Land actually our winner from game 1, now picking up 2-star Hunters as well as the Aegis bonus that we talked about previously.
Yeah, a lot of upgraded units already here at round 9. Probably just trying to find a better front line. That's really what he's missing. He has a lot of damage with his flat out bonus from the Hunters, 2 of them being 2-star, as well as that Dwarf ever so needed Dwarf Sniper. And the most reasonable thing here would probably be going into 3 Warrior frontline. Does play against Sizzle, that is open forting currently, so of course he's gonna burn that one.
Sizzle though actually open forting now without the priest, so I'm not sure if he actually sold the priest maybe to hit one of those interest points, or he just decided to not put it on the
Yeah, so does that mean that Kong maybe is also open forting? Let's have a look at Kong. Yeah, so Kong is also open forting. The reason why Sizzle put it on his bench again is if he somehow plays against Kong, he actually wins as he has 1 unit in, while Kong doesn't have a single one in. So then he would lose his lose streak, if you will.
But even if he plays against Kong, he would also lose his lose streak because he would draw. So I think the reason why he removed his priest is because if Kong actually got put up against Sizzle, Kong's lose streak would be lost, right? So,
and if that happens, Sizzle can actually continue lose streak while Kong probably starts to put in units.
Yeah.
And is that what happened? Because no, this is the creep round. Never mind.
Yeah, no, Sizzle actually went down pretty quick to this creep round, so unfortunately not picking up some very needed items.
Yeah, he didn't even defeat a single rock column, so that's pretty rough for Sizzle, for sure.
Yeah, round 10, kind of light on the items across the board, except for Zoinhu, which has quite a bit of Dracula masks, and that's about it. Does have the cattle hide armors as well, but overall, definitely in the best situation for all of the players this round for items.
Sure.
It does actually go with the 2-star Warpwood stage though.
Yeah. It is a really strong unit in the early game, I think. It's especially good with Warriors because they have a lot of extra armor, so if you continuously give them heals from the seed, they actually can preserve for a long time. So it's kind of like the healer behind the tank.
So Zoinhu is actually probably planning on selling that red axe sheaf because he has all of his items stacked on it. So I would assume at this point that he has decided that he wants to go hunter feathered or feathered of some sort, and he is going to be getting rid of his red axe sheaf because he has 3 Dracula masks stacked on that thing, and that is just he's just decided that he doesn't want to go Beast Warrior at this point. So I do feel a little bit nervous for Zoinhu because he does need to have a solid finish, but feathered is not.
I feel like it's also a little bit late, however, to go into Beast Warrior. He hasn't really been winning half of the time, so you kind of need an early edge to get rolling with Beast Warriors, I feel like.
But we also don't know what he's been rolling past or what he's been offered as far as what's in his shop, because we already know that he doesn't want to go Warrior. So maybe something to look at in the future is to actually see what's in the shop as well.
This is a 2-star Siren.
It is a little bit hard to say.
It's a 2-star Siren already for Nudge WK with a 1-star Soul Reaper. He's on round 12. This is insane. This is such a good start for Nudge WK. He must be happy where he's at. Actually has a pretty close game against Sweet Pea, the other player here in the top of the standings. Nudge must be happy that he did go up to level 6 there.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you're 100% HP with 40 gold at round 13, yeah, you're probably feeling pretty good.
Yeah. no, for sure. And especially happy that it did go up to level 6 as it was so close against Sweet Pea. Actually goes up to 7, and I do like this. He's pressuring the other opponents. He's playing Hunter Warriors right now, which it's not as good as Beast Warrior to pressure your opponents and dealing a lot of damage, but it is damn close. It's really good in the early game especially, so I like his situation here. He's probably not going to lose against anybody, and he's going to pressure whoever he plays against.
Yeah, it looks like I feel like the Siren is taking a long time to get the skill up, so he probably doesn't have any mana items on it, unfortunately, but he does have it on backline. So right now at round 13, there's not going to be anything that's really going to kill it that quickly. So looking to put that front line, I think would help him out tremendously, so that way he can make use of that 2-star Siren, not just from the ultimate, but just having a little bit of a front line.
No, I completely agree.
For his hunters would be
the only
great.
thing you really care about, which is scary about putting it in the front line at this point in the game, is if it gets human silence or if it gets attacked by Taboo Witcher. And we are seeing a few Taboo Witchers in this game, but still though, I do think it's worth it to put it in the front line to just give that off chance. And even so, there's not a lot of Taboo Witchers, so you can probably position it in a way that you can kind of evade both Taboo Witcher players.
I mean, see Sizzle kind of all over the place here, trying to put together a feathered composition because, I mean, even in his interview, he said, I like going feathered from a lost streak, and that is exactly what he's doing. But I'm not sure how it's going to work out for him. He does have a lot of work to do going into a creep round with about 24% HP. It's a little bit lower than what you would want at this point, of course, but he's not even really close to having any of those upgrades to kind of stabilize him at this point. So Sizzle, though, on the verge of taking potentially another 8th.
I mean, this is just scary for him, right? Because the thing with Feathered is that if you do it from a lose streak, you expect yourself to start winning in the mid game. But even if you do, I feel like Feather is not the strongest late game comp anyways. Like, at some point, it should be a counter against Glacier Knights, but Glacier Knights actually starts winning against them when we get to the late game, when there's 3-star Lightblade Knight or 3-star Hell Knight.
Also, one thing to note as well is that there's 3 other Hunter players as well as 1 other Mage player. So 4 people in the lobby are probably going to do a decent job at countering you as well until you get those 6 hunter or 6
Just
feather
not the best comp in the metagame or even the most strong one in a vacuum. So yeah, I wouldn't want to see a lot of people going feather. I mean, it hasn't really been popular, honestly. We've only seen a few people actually trying to go for it so far. Giant does find that 3-star type, which I say I have had it for a while. It's going to be interesting to see how long he does keep that.
Zorinu actually struggling to put something together too. He's been kind of in between builds for probably about 10, 11 rounds now, and it looks like he's possibly falling into the Beast Warrior now at this point. Did get rid of the Warpwood Sage that we saw previously, so it might be a little late though, in my opinion. And again, we kind of goes back to not really being sure if he was rolling past things and just focusing on Feather, or if he just wasn't offered it, which definitely could be the situation.
Annoying since he kept himself being flexible for that Feather, even having tons of units on the bench that cost him in gold for several rounds. So even when he's supposed to transition and kind of come back into the game, he's already lost so much gold that it's going to be even harder.
And the other thing to think about too is that he has all those Dracula masks on the Red Axe Chief.
Yeah.
But he now has a Berserker, which is going to be something that he wants those Dracula masks to be put on. So
and he also has a swordsman, right? So he doesn't want to sell the Red Axe Chief even.
Right, and so that's why he's buying that extra one that's on the bench now, trying to get that to 2-star before he switches it out. But it's just, I mean, he's running out of time. He's at 32%
a lot of awkward,
HP.
Yeah. Interesting to see Sweet Pea. He was actually level 5 just very recently. We saw that in last game too. Sweet Pea actually stayed at a lower level for a long time. And after he had rolled a bit on that lower level, I think it was last game was level 6, this game was level 5. Then he started to turbo level after he found the things that he wanted. Kind of like the Glacier Knight gamble, if you will. Let's have a look at Sweet Pea, see what he's working with, and see what it. Okay, so he did probably do that gamble. We can especially see that since he has 2 Hell Knight 2-stars and he almost has 2-star Silverblade Knights. So does make sense that he stayed at 5 for a few additional turns.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're going Knights at 90% though, that's also you being very lucky with your rolls.
No, for sure.
Because most of the time right now is you're playing Knights from a lose streak and coming back. So
you can do it from a win streak. It only comes down to getting that early Hell Knight 2.
Just high roll forehead. that's all you gotta do.
Is that not what you're doing? I don't understand. What's the issue here?
Easy game is easy.
Yeah. Notch WK still keeps his 100% streak here, so looking real good for him. Lan, our previous winner actually from the previous round, a little bit of, he's going into Feather Hunters, it seems like. A little disappointed.
Yeah, I think at this point the Soulbreaker is losing its value.
For sure.
I almost would put the Whisper Seer in there to give the front line a little bit more beef, but
with the evasion,
at the same time, it's kind of a toss-up.
Yeah, no, I agree. The Soulbreaker is the oddball here for sure. I really want to find that Racing Club.
It almost just gave the Siren mana this round, which is never a good thing.
No, that's true.
Obviously, it did quite a bit of damage, but I just don't think it was as valuable.
I feel like that's
anymore.
just because it stayed alive for the longest time. Like
it wasn't being focused down.
No,
right?
exactly. Miss Peace barely losing here against Yang. Let's have a look at Sizzle. Let's see if he can actually come back into this game. He has found that Dwarf Sniper too, but he just doesn't have an economy at this point. I don't know if he's gonna come back here. Yeah, I'm spelling Doom for Sizzle a little early here.
No, he's got an egg. He's got 2 snipers on the bench. No, he doesn't need to put in the egg, but if he can get to level 8, he can have 2 Dwarf Snipers, which is actually not the worst thing in the world,
It would be nice to find a Razor Claw here. Not only does he get his Whisperwood Seer upgraded, or Whisperwood Sage, sorry, upgraded, but he could also get a 2-star Razor Claw, which would be nice here before round 20.
Yeah, I also, it's, I don't know, I don't have very much confidence in this build.
No, me neither. You and me both, my friend. You and me both.
And we do see he's going to take some pretty heavy damage there against Nuge, it looked like.
So easily.
Yeah, actually, well, Yeah, so he goes down to
Yeah,
9% HP. I was
slow
waiting for it. It was,
animation there,
a
yeah,
little slow in the calculation, but it did end up coming through. Now taking a look at Yang, going with a 3-star Tab Witcher for himself, but kind of in an awkward spot with the Knight's Glacier comp, in my opinion.
Right. Yeah, maybe we'll see a Fallen Witcher. Who knows? No, I'm just kidding. Clearly, it's not going to happen. Yeah, I think Yang is going to keep it for as long as he doesn't have like a 2-star that's going to enable another synergy.
I mean, his build is a little bit on the weaker end, of course, or I mean, even his bench is a little bit weaker than some of the other players we've seen, but at least he has enough economy and enough HP that he's probably going to be able to be just fine in this round compared to some of those other players that are kind of in the on the chopping block there, like Sizzle, Zoinhu, and even Land at this point. We haven't seen him too much this game. Look at the items here. Sweet Pea with a nice Jade Pipe. We also have Sizzle with a Heaven's Gift, and kind of a fair spread for items, I would say, overall. The only thing is that Sweet Pea doesn't have any mana items, which, as a Knight's Glacier player, he's perfectly fine with that.
Alright, so we're having a look at Kong here that's actually found a 2-star Dragon Knight. And this is early to find a 2-star Dragon Knight, looking really strong here.
Yeah, but
together with a pretty good
his
mage
2-star Dragon
backline.
Knight, though, without kind of locking him in, like possibly putting him where the source is or one up, it moved a little bit and got himself into a position where he almost didn't take advantage of the dragon bonus at all. It just moved right in. It almost did a basic attack first before the mana
came in.
Fully filled up. So
no, he should definitely be
being aware of that. He needs to make that adjustment next round.
Does have the full 6 mages, so looking good composition wise. But yeah,
let's go back to who was it? Kong? Yeah, Kong, who had the Dragon Knight, to see if he's gonna fix that.
Does have the Troll Elder almost in the front also.
Yeah, this positioning is
just, I would put
it's
this is not good positioning. Let's be honest. I would put the Disruptor down in the front. Just where the Troll Elder is, switched out with the source. Put the source to the left side of the Troll Elder, and then maybe change spots between Shining Dragon and Dragon Knight possibly.
I mean, I'd make so many changes. You see the Dragon Knight again, just jumps
when you
right in
can
there.
hear me, just suddenly to change everything. So yeah, not the best positioning, and
the Troll Elder is ulting behind him, and the wolf. It's just a mess. It's all over the place. So still not making the change. And
might
that's
still win against
Nudge
WK though. It's getting close. Actually.
While you're in a game, watching your units and what they're doing, and maybe not scouting and just being aware of what's going on at that specific moment, so that way you can make small changes that can really decide a whole lot, is very important.
Right, especially now, given that he has time when he doesn't have any bank. Like, he's not rolling down, he doesn't need his APM for many other things. So yeah, I would have liked him to kind of change his setup there a little bit. However, he did win against Nudge WK, which is kind of a surprise given he's the lone 100%er. And Nudge WK actually going for 4 Marine already in round 23. This is the earliest time I've seen 4 Marine in a at least semi-competitive game. Yeah. It's a very interesting way to do this.
How many mage players are there, though? I think there's only
let's have a look at the
2,
tab. Let's have a look at the tab.
I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
One mage player is going 4 Marine, so
maybe
not
surprising.
The smartest.
Yeah, I don't
investment.
know. Maybe. Okay, so he went up to 9, right? So he's gonna be stronger than almost all the other players. But he did see that Kong actually beat him on his board. So maybe he's thinking, that's the only player who I can lose to right now. So I'm going to play forward. It's a...
Fair point.
Yeah.
Fair point. Could be going through his head.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's only one mage player.
I mean, it's a bit of a stretch, I agree. However, if he's thinking that, there could be some next level 200 IQ play right there.
Possibly.
Miss
Peace now actually just one Red Axe Chief away from a 3-star Red Axe.
Let's have a look at Sizzle actually, see if he's going out.
3-star Exorcist Ranger.
Let's have a look at Sizzle, see how he's faring on his board. Yeah. Yeah, Sizzle is gonna go out here. No surprise there. We did call it a few rounds ago that it's not gonna work with this Hunter feather build from behind. Sony actually hasn't lost that much health as of late. I think he's been winning for a while, has he not? Let's have a look at the win streak situation. So I know did lose the last round, sorry, but he hasn't actually lost a lot of health, and that's kind of a testament to the Beast Warrior, is that you often, even if you lose, you usually kill a fair number of the opponent's units before you do.
Yeah, and I like the fact that he actually realized that the better option here would be switching to Beast Warrior, and I'm hoping that he's gonna get rewarded for it.
Right.
With a couple extra ranks higher than 7th, but we kind of knew that Sizzle was going to get last just based on the build that he was going and knowing that it didn't really have the power behind it, which it is unfortunate for him because I believe that's 2 8th places in a row now for Sizzle. So
he's going to be out.
It's going to be a 7th place and the 8th place.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. He's out.
But it's still it's still a difficult time for him these first 2 games.
So 7th place is what, 1 point?
Correct.
Yeah, so even if he wins this round, he's going to go up to 10 points, and we've usually seen the cutoff at 4th/5th be around 12 points, maybe 11 in one group, but never. There's not been a group where 10 points has been enough, basically. So it's looking grim for Sizzle here.
Yeah, which is again a little unfortunate for him on this one. But taking a look at Yang now with his Knights Glacier comp, just a couple away from a 3-star Hell Knights as well. And was Yang the player that had the 3-star Taboo Witcher?
I think so, yeah. Yeah,
so
for sure.
he ended up getting rid of that.
Yeah, smart. This must be a little bit disheartening, though, playing against another Glacier Knight player, which does have tons of 3-stars in that Hell Knight and that Despacito/Desperate Doctor. So now taking tons of damage as well here. His Beast Warrior starting to fall off a little bit, and this is a symptom of him not having such a great start. And since Beast Wars isn't really scaling that well in comparison to other teams, you really need that extra economic buffer by having a good early game, which he didn't. So it's no surprise that he's starting to fall off a little bit here, and I would be surprised if he claims even 6th position in this game.
Yeah, Nudge still 100% here, and
crushing it.
Picking up a little bit of a flex item with that 4th Soul Reaper as well as a 4th Doom Arbiter as well. Or I'm sorry, a 4th Pirate Captain. It's only a 2nd Doom Arbiter that's on the bench there. But looking at possibly some 3-star Mythic units would always be fun to see.
Did move out of that second Marine bonus, so he's only playing 3 out of 4 now.
For now, but he does have the option to go back into it if he does.
And I like him keeping it. I mean, it's really good for the late game. If his final opponent might be Kong, he's going to have magic damage, and the higher level Nudge is going to become, the harder it's going to be to find Abyssal Crawlers. So before going there, keep him on the board, especially since you have such a bank at this point.
I think Kong with 23% HP is going to have a hard time against some of the Knights players with those 3-star Hell Knights. I believe it was possibly Land that had that 3-star.
Or Miss Peace.
Or yeah, I think it was Miss Peace, correct. That had that 3-star Hell Knight. And Zoinhu, kind of on the edge here, 8% HP, only a couple Swordmans away from a 3-star upgrade, but kind of grasping at straws here. There's that 3-star Hell Knight that I was talking about from Sweet Pea, actually, was the one.
Sweet
also
Pea, Miss Peace,
Doctor.
Yeah. Yin and Yang. So Sony's actually gonna be able to keep himself alive here, and Land actually being defeated by Nudge, so it does end up playing against the top player here. And this is kind of the mine you don't want to walk into at this point. It's being Nudge WK.
We've actually seen several players fall into this trap this tournament. We've seen. Of course, the
3-star
Abyssal
Guard on the bench. Okay, it's finally gonna go up to 9 to put it in.
Yeah, but to my point, there's several players that go first place in game 1, and then have just a awful game 2, and it really puts them in a position where that entire lead that they gave themselves is now gone.
Right.
And they're kind of playing catch up and kind of gambling everything into one game now at that point, and turning their whole $450,000 journey into a best of one.
Yeah, you gotta stay consistent. That's the name of the game. It doesn't matter if you're first, if you're gonna be 7th or 8th in the next games. I mean, it's enough to be 4th in every game. So middling consistency is definitely something you can go for. And this is gonna be close for Yang actually, but that Berserker does stay at 100% health. So Soiner's gonna defeat him here. Soiner actually go out against Nudge WDK. As I said, Nudge is kind of the landmine here you don't want to walk into. Whoever is going to face him in the bottom 4 before Soiner did go out could actually go out.
So he's got some work to do going into game 3. Definitely still has a chance to get back into it, but he needs to have a solid finish game 3 for sure. Yang now on the cusp here at 8%. Now there is a little bit of a buffer between 4th and 5th now, so again, just trying to get one more rank higher will give you that 2 extra points now at this point.
Yeah, this is a big one.
Yeah, Yang with the 3-star Lightblade Knight. As far as the items are concerned on round 30, let's take a look here, just across the board at the item spread.
Yeah, especially now that the creep round is over, it's going to be interesting to see what items have been combined here. Nudge does only have one item combination actually. Miss Piece actually picks up 2 Wraith Shards. That is really big actually. And he already has that Maelstrom, so he's gonna have that Mjolnir now for Miss Piece on that Dwarf Sniper. Is one of the best units to have it on.
Can also add another Wraith Shard on top of it as well. So massive Dwarf Sniper there.
Especially great on Dwarf Sniper since it does attack the backline at first. And that means the lining is actually gonna pop off in the backline. It's gonna kill it even faster. So
yeah, also not even very close to a Dragon Bone Ballista as well. So almost one of the most stacked damage dealing carriers we've seen so far.
Yeah, for sure. And it's gonna see him deal a massive amount of damage with that Mjolnir. Yang is kind of on the cusp here on going out. That Lightblade Knight does kill 2 more units. It's gonna be close. I think it's gonna stay alive at 1 HP, given that pre-shield. Kong stays alive at 1 HP. This is close. Whoever's gonna go out in 5th here is gonna be decided on the very next round. Very possibly. Kong still has the Tortroll Eller in the front line. Not really sure about that positioning. Would want to change that against the Ropratan.
At least he's got the Dragon Knight locked in now, so we're making progress.
It's already locked into having it though, because it does have a. If we take a look at the Tortola Elder once more, he does have extra armor item on it.
It could be because he doesn't have any mana items that he thinks that he needs it to be frontline, but that's what Source is for at this point.
Well, because he's gonna get off his ult. It's gonna shine. He did actually get it off.
It's not a fully charged ult though, so it's gonna do much less damage.
It is gonna go out there. Is it gonna go out before Yang or not? Yang also loses, but Kong goes out beforehand, and this is huge for Yang. This is so big, netting that 4th position, 2 extra points over Kong.
So Yang actually, taking 4th there, leaving Nuge at 100%, still going into round 33. Miss Piece at 19, and Sweet Pea not too far behind at 15%. So now it's just a battle for second at this point. As far as the builds are concerned, we could potentially see Sweet Pea get back into it, but with Nudge being as stacked as he is with the 2-star
I was just about to say,
Dark Spirit,
now you can remove your Marines at this point, right?
Yeah, you can remove your Marines.
But the thing is that Nudge has a 2-star Tsunami Stalker, which you're never going to remove. He has a 2-star Siren, which you're never going to remove. And his Abyssal Guard is 3-star. So I guess he's just going to keep it because they're so powerful in their own right. Regardless of the Marine bonus not mattering. But yeah, it's not going to go for the...
from Sweet Pea to Miss Piece.
But he's not going to go for the Abyssal Crawler in the end. So he's going to be able to sell that, which he has at this point. Does lose, actually. So he's not going to get a perfect game. That's unfortunate for Nudge's flexing potential here.
Yeah, possibly going for a 3-star Dark Spirit.
Well, if there's anything that's a flex, it's 3-star Dark Spirit. Although it is really good to put in 2-star Dark Spirits also.
I think a 3-star Dark Spirit would be more of a flex than a 100% game. Just throwing it out there.
Yeah. for sure. And I mean, we'll see if we get to that, because not that Nudge doesn't have enough money to get there, but when he does get two-star Dark Spirit, it's kind of unlikely that his opponents will stay alive long enough for them to see the 3-star Dark Spirit flex. Alright, so Miss is gonna get to play against Sweet Pea here. It is gonna be a close game. The backline of 3-star is still alive, but it does seem like Miss is gonna take this with his actually 2-star Dwarf type dealing about 8,000 damage with that Mjolnir, so big deal there. Nudge barely wins against Miss Peace. And yeah, it does seem like Sweet Pea does lose his round, so the only one taking damage this round. So everyone's gonna, 3 players are gonna go into round 35 here. It's actually scary for Sweet Pea. He's already level 9, so his synergy is kind of complete at this point. And his most important units are already 3-star. Like, what are you looking for here? Sure, you can get a 2-star Soul Reaper and a 2-star Storm Samurai. So I guess that's what you can do, but
2-star Soul Reaper would be huge.
Yeah, but more than that, there's not really anything else you can make to improve your board, really.
Right. He also doesn't have much gold to work with either, so that is something that Miss Peace has 50 gold economy over Sweet Pea, and just noticing that, it kind of upsets me that Miss Peace has 50 gold to work with. I would like to see Miss Peace use that to try to push Sweet Pea out to clutch that second
Maybe
place
he thinks
finish.
that I could really see that.
And yeah, there's the killer bot
nice
300 for Sweet Pea.
I can really see Miss Peace actually saving money for the reason. Okay, so it does go all in for level 10 here.
On that Hell Knight, though,
if
that's
Miss Peace doesn't have a great game 1, maybe he thinks that if he's a little bit more greedy, he can actually become in first place in this game. It is still possible to catch Nudge here.
He does spend it. Rolls in, goes up to 10 as well. So just as what we were thinking. Yeah, just after a creep round. So he's probably greeding a little bit, like you said, but ended up working out for him.
So Sweet Pea is gonna play against Miss Peace here, and it does seem like Sweet Pea is actually gonna hold, even though Miss Peace did go all in for level 10. So a little surprising here. Miss Peace does defeat Nudge WK, and Nudge WK is actually the only player losing on his side of the board. Does still have tons of gold that he can spend, and he is rolling down here. Does find the Ghost Prophet too, so that is big. Could get another Dark Spirit too.
Just
if
3 Dark Spirits away from a 3-star Dark Spirit.
Yeah, this is interesting. Do you want to put that? Yeah, I was just about to say, do you want to put that Dark Spirit 2 in? What does it remove, however?
He doesn't need to remove.
Oh, that's his temple.
He removed one of his hunters, actually, so he didn't get rid of
the
Agris's bonus.
Ranger.
He got that second Agris's bonus from the Ghost Prophet. Correct.
Smart. That's so smart. That's definitely the right play here. Basically turning his 1 cost 2-star into a 5 cost 2-star, which is clearly enormous difference in terms of power level.
Yeah.
So Nudge actually still losing against Miss Peace. It's kind of crazy seeing him losing with such a really high power team. It's showing how strong this other alliance is. Wow, 4 Frenzy Max on Lightblade Knight. This is actually amazing.
I would actually like to see what's happening with Nudge and why his team isn't holding up. I think that positioning has a little bit to do with it. He has the Tsunami Soccer a little bit over to the right, where I think a lot of his opponents are coming from his left side.
Right. Let's have a look.
And so that Dark Spirit didn't even get off. So one of the Dark Spirits didn't get off. This second Dark Spirit didn't get off. So neither of them got off against this Knights team, which is disastrous. Like you're not going to have any chance at it. So again, he's just 2 Dark Spirits away though from a 3-star Dark Spirit. So
I mean, that's what I'm waiting for.
Yeah, maybe he's also waiting for the same thing. Although now he's down to about 10 gold, so that dream is fading slightly.
Yeah, and I think Miss Peace has 1-star Dark Spirit also, so it's gonna be even harder to get it.
Let's go back to Nudge's
Can he
board.
get for 6 hunters? No, he can't.
He threw in
Agris's Ranger,
Agris's Ranger.
And he doesn't have an Evil Knight. Surprised there. Instead of Dark Spirit even. I don't understand that play really.
He already has 2 out of 4 egg assists. He already has 3
out of 6 hunters.
Out of 6 hunters. That's basically trading a
Dark Spirit 2 for
that's all you're doing.
With no additional like upside. Yeah.
Right. There's no bonus to that.
Yeah, that is
all.
definitely a mistake. I can't see
Unless
that
he's
being
going
correct.
for that 3-star Dark Spirit. That's it.
However,
Unless he's trying to
Ratchet-
nerf himself a little bit to go for the 3-star Dark Spirit. That's the
Right,
only
he doesn't want to
reason.
kill his opponents fast enough. But the problem is he's been losing every round for a couple of rounds now. So, I mean, he's in a position where he could definitely not be first here. Something we wouldn't expect at all, like 5 or 10 rounds ago even.
True.
100 more gold than Miss Beast
I
in
think
total.
if he repositioned and you know, kind of figured things out a little bit,
he should be able to win this. He
would be fine.
I mean,
But he is
his
kind of
board
gambling
is so
a little bit
expensive.
with it, toying around with trying to get this 3-star Dark Spirit that
This is
might
just-
not necessarily reward
Right,
that.
but this is such an expensive board. It's crazy, right? I mean, look at his units. They're almost all of them are 2-star 5 cost or 2-star 4 cost. Like Sniper 2 is like his cheapest unit. Seriously.
I would just sell Egersis at this point.
Yeah.
Egersis Ranger. That's
Yeah.
not going to come back in.
Yeah, I do agree. He would also net him another interest point. So being a little bit wasteful with his gold, with his lead that he does have, thinking that it has a buffer to do whatever we want. But
we do see.
we definitely try to min-max that.
Oh. So Miss Peace actually has 2 Dark Spirits on the bench. So total legendaries
does find the third one.
is 10.
Yeah, so you can't
And right
get
now
one.
there's 9 in play.
So the only way Nudge gets it here is if he does indeed send Misspell. He has to win.
Find 2 more eggs though. He could do that.
He could do that. Yeah. To make a level 2 egg, and then he could make it, or he could kick out Misspiece.
But he did
If
roll down. It
Misspiece
looks like he didn't find
is
anything.
getting kicked out before Sweet Pea. It is possible. It is technically possible. Nudge actually crushes Sweet Pea here. Is gonna win this round. Misspiece does take 8 against Misspiece.
There goes Miss
Miss
Peace. Miss Peace is out at 3rd, so all those Dark Spirits now are thrown back into the pool.
the pool. Let's go.
Unfortunately, Nuge actually did roll down though last round, so that
actually has a
final
Dwarf
20
Sniper
gold that he
3.
had
Look at
left
that.
over, he did in fact spend it, and that Dwarf Sniper 3 came really quickly actually.
Yeah, I was surprised. He was so far away, right?
He was,
He had like one on the bench or whatever.
Yeah, he had 2 2-star Dwarf Snipers, and then now he's got a 3-star.
Must be. Yeah, that is probably the best upgrade he could have got. I mean, jokes aside with the Dark Spirit 3, I think actually Dwarf Sniper 3 is more important, especially since it has such good items.
All right, here we go head to head, and one of the Dark Spirits already not getting off. The other one is getting off for Nudge.
And it is going to be enough on his side of the board. However, Sweet Pea might be holding here. It's going to be close between the Dwarf Sniper and the Lightblade Pilot, but the Lightblade Knight, does in fact lose in the end since it doesn't have another unit to bounce his blades on. And Dwarf Sniper is definitely better in that 1 versus 1 scenario. Let's have a look at the items on Dwarf Sniper, because I do think it does have a Mjolnir. No, this is the tripled Frenzied Mask Dwarf Sniper with Maelstrom and Ghostblade and another stick here. This upgrade was just huge, right? This couldn't get any better of an upgrade. That was quite
also
a high
the
roll.
reposition from Nuge here to kind of protect that Dark Spirit on the left side is definitely important. I think that's going to kind of solidify him this match, because that second Dark Spirit hasn't been getting off. So if he can get both of them off,
he
should be in good shape.
Should be easy.
So there's one, and the other one is...
Yeah, I do believe Sweet Pea is going to lose by a fair margin here on his side of the board, and that's going to be it. Nudge is going to take this second game of the last group with a pretty dominating display, actually. Certainly dominance in the second game.
Yeah.
Very much so.
I think he played it a little bit conservative. Could have been a little bit more aggressive to finish it quite a bit sooner.
One could have even said he did a mad expression of his wealth in this game.
Something
he kind of swung it around. Maybe didn't min-max as much as he could have, considering he was so far ahead, but did come out in the end.
Yeah, and I think, Claytano, I think you're touching on it, though, but, I mean, he was at 100% for a long time there.
Yeah.
And like, you know, not to be more confusing, but Sweet Pea and Miss Piece. By the way, they're both doing decent in my unofficial math standings, so they might still be duking it out here to get in the top 4. But no, it shocked me there how Nudge WK, he was at 100%. Seemed like he was chilling.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Sweet Pea and Miss Piece were way down in like the 10 percentile. But then another situation where we started seeing some clawing back from these other players, and I'm like, wait a second. Is Nuge somehow going to lose this? And you guys were you're talking about positioning.
Yeah.
You know, was it positioning? It was a lot of 2-stars, expensive units. What was the deal there? I mean, was there a better way for him to close it out and really flex like Land did the game before?
I definitely think there was, but once he did finally get that 3-star Dwarf Sniper, that's when there was really no beating him after that point. Although I do feel like he could have closed the door much sooner, probably like almost 10 rounds sooner, where he was sitting on gold. He was not really forcing the issue and kind of playing around with the final 2 players.
Right.
And in this situation, it's a little bit risky.
I think it's
to
a bit
do
of
that.
two different play
push him out.
styles. I think it's 2 different play styles, especially when you're that far ahead, that we see a lot of players, or some players like to keep their 50 gold to make sure they will get more gold over time and then kind of slowly suffocate their opponent, while others try to spend all of the gold to not give them a chance to get their upgrades to come back. And it's kind of 2 different play styles. I do think often that I would like to be a little bit more aggressive with my gold when I'm that ahead, especially when there's only 2 other players left. If there's more players left, I do like keeping it a little bit more, and I think that's different from player to player, how to kind of spend your gold in the late game, if you will, especially when you're ahead.
Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, if you have the opportunity to push your opponent out, why not?
It was, I don't know, at that point I felt like it was a little hard for him to get some upgrades by pushing all in, but either way.
Looking at our total standings here, I think, you know, pretty big surprise to me actually, you know, Land, 7th place. Claytana, I think you mentioned it too earlier. How we've had a few players that have won who have not been able to advance. Either they win round 1, round 2. We've had that happen at least a couple times today. So Land winning in the first game of this best of 3, but now finding himself in 7th, and I love that discussion that you guys had about it. He's put himself in a hole here, and you know, we talk about consistency too. Miss Piece is a great example of that, as you see at the top. 2 third place finishes. 6 plus 6 is 12, and he's at the top. And look how close we are in that top 5. 12, 11, 10, 10, 10. But imagine if Land had like figured it out a little bit better there in game 2. He would be well up the leaderboard, but now he's finding himself fighting to just be in the top 4.
Yeah, I think the bubble is going to be close this time. A lot of people have a lot of decent positions.
Well, that's the other thing.
I think
with Land,
the point you need could be even higher this
with
round.
Land taking 8th place, though, it actually opens the door for the other players to sneak in now that may not have originally had a chance. So Zoinhu being where he's at in 6th place can actually slide in just fine.
If there's something that can beat a South Korean, it's playing feathered.
There you go.
That's true.
We saw both players being on 7th.
For the Korean player himself.
Yeah,
exactly.
Not playing against him as feathered.
Yeah, exactly. We saw both players at 7th and 8th in this round were actually both playing feathered.
Yeah.
It's not a coincidence.
Well, we'll see what happens continuing forward, but it's like it's good for us that, you know, we have a very dramatic game 3 coming forward. But for Land, he's going to be a bit sad about what happened there because he could have easily, you know, secured himself top 4 just by doing a little bit better in that last game. So again, for us though, it means we're going to have a very close game 3, and we're going to take a short break, and we're going to be right back with that. So during this break, we're actually going to look at we have a few words from the player that just succeeded there, the representative from Spain. That's Nudge WK. So let's take a look at that.
I actually started playing Auto Chess just when they announced a 1 million tournament because I wanted to compete in it, so being here is a success, I guess. Yeah, I have been playing StarCraft, League of Legends and Went before Auto Chess at the high level, so this is not my first event. I mean, I actually think I am the favorite for me, but I guess Tutu is also really good because he has a lot of points on the Asia ladder, but I don't think there is really a favorite or anything like that. I usually play the game on the computer because I stream it, and I actually only play when I am streaming. I don't like overplaying because I don't want to get burned out of the game. So I usually just play 3 or 4 hours on the computer. And it's also a really nice game to stream because you can interact with the chat while the fight is going on, so I think that's really good.